Oh, hi there. This is my first intro. I've been doing this podcast for well over a year now, and I've resisted doing an intro because I really don't want to make this about me, but it looks like I can't get around that for some reason. It just doesn't feel right. So I'm doing an intro because on this episode, this is my second phoner. I'm not doing this by WebEx or Zoom or anything like that, so there's no video component to this episode. So I'm doing a little thing here just to kind of just set this thing up. Because this podcast has always been really about, speaking with artists, leaders, creative people. So I'm just kind of forging ahead and just trying to figure out where all this fits. This week, I spoke with Lawrence Gowan of the band Styx. He is their keyboardist, been with them for ages. And Styx is really just one of those bands that just keeps on creating. They're a legacy act, but they keep doing new things. So their latest album is called Crash of the Crown, and we spoke a little bit about that and how all that came together, and also about performing live again, which I've been doing pretty much throughout most of this podcast. This was kind of born out of the entire COVID incident and what artists have been doing all this time, trying to make money and to perform. And they've been doing this online now for the last 18 plus months as I speak about this. And this is still kind of continuing because we're in this Delta variant stage now. And the artists are back out there, like Lawrence and Styx, and many other bands have come back and hit the road and have been doing live shows. With this episode, audio only, because it was one of those things where this is the only way we could have done it. So quality is way different. I'm going to chime in here probably about a minute in because I missed some of it because, doing phoners is just not really the best quality through all these mobile phones. So we had some dropout here. But I really, really enjoyed doing this. And Lawrence is a really great guy, incredibly creative, and finding out about how their process is, and it has been, and I would say this about a lot of other artists, how they were able to put these new projects together during COVID. Some of them did get together in studios in places like Nashville or LA and did the live jamming and got it together, and some have traded files online through all kinds of different software. So it's really fascinating, and just really hope you enjoy it. I've been really enjoying doing this. Podcast the last 18 plus months, and it's just been a real thrill. So here goes. Lawrence Gowan from the band Styx. How's it going?
Never better. How do you pronounce your last name? Is it Nebel or Nebel?
Nebel.
Nebel. I thought so. I thought the E would be hard there. Okay, Nebel. Okay.
Yeah, Nebel is that is a German name.
Okay.
And in fact, there is a village in Germany by that name. It means the fog in German.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Well, that's good to know.
You've been all over the world, I'm sure. It's probably just
I have been. I've been all over the northern hemisphere. I've never been south of the equator. Funny enough, as I look at my travels.
Yeah, that's interesting. But you go to where the job takes you. That's
Yeah, we were close to the equator. The closest we came was Aruba, which I know is technically part of South America. Here we are about a minute into the interview. We missed a chunk. We're talking about how music is the language of love, how you can go anywhere in the world and pretty much get the same reactions no matter where you're at. So here goes, and here's the rest of the interview. And by the end of the show, they're all incredibly alike. They look like whether you're playing in Sweden or Japan or America. By the end of the show, the audience looks exactly the same. They're all in the same kind of, ecstatic state, and really, it's kind of a great thing to see because you see how much music unites people. Oh, it does. It's a world language, and I'm sure you've seen that firsthand. That's just got to be fascinating when people, they know your lyrics in English and they don't even speak it. That's right, and you hit the nose in the head, the nail on the head, not the nose.
Yeah.
I guess you hit it on the nose. There we go. We'll go with
Yeah.
that one. That's one of the things that musicians in general, if I could, have to remember is that, as you just said, music is a language. It's a language that we don't fully understand. Even Beethoven said that. He didn't understand what the hell it was. And why it moves us so profoundly in an emotional sense is a mystery. We just know it works. And if you get it right, it works to an incredibly deep level. So that's what we get to witness every day.
Just incredible. Yeah, so Styx out on the road after all these years. And what I find so amazing is that you're still producing new material. And it's just so inspiring to see that. Because, I know how these legacy acts are. They just rely on the old hits.
Yeah. We do rely on the legacy of the band. That's another good way to put it. The legacy of the band is really what we are, what we are building upon. But we can't build upon it unless we have new things that come along that we feel are worthy to present to people, and worthy of us being in the band together, So
right.
we have to. That's part of the lifeblood of the band. I believe it's a two-pronged thing. It's live performance because of the communication point you made, the language. That is a fantastic bonding agent for band members. But secondly, the new ideas and the fact that there's more coming, coming from upriver,
Oh, sure.
that keeps the lifeblood of the band going. And these last two albums have really put us into a new era of creativity with The Mission and with Crash of the Crown. And, fortunately, the music industry itself has kind of straightened out a little bit where they now embrace the internet for what it is. And our record company, Universal, had a great plan for Crash of the Crown by coinciding the release with us going on tour. And because of that, in the first 10 days that the record came out, on Billboard's rock album chart, it hit #1, and that's never happened with the band before in such quick succession. And we're seeing tremendous response to it, to those songs, along with the legacy material on this whole tour. We played last night in Toledo, Ohio, and same thing again. Crash of the Crown. That song went over as well as "Fooling Yourself" or "Miss America." It was great to see.
Yeah, you mix it really well into the show, too. You're mixing the old and the new, and it's just the power, the energy. I just it's amazing. You were just here in Alpharetta, Georgia, which is near Atlanta, which is where I'm at now, and the crowd was just so into it. It's just
yeah.
Yeah,
you're right. You're right by it. That's where our management office is too. So we want to see that go well. And it did. It was a fantastic night. And that was so early on in the tour, too. I think that was the second or third show back. So, good.
Yeah.
Good to hear.
On tour during the summer with Collective Soul, who I spoke with Dean from Collective Soul. And I just never heard the excitement is just really there. And I love how much energy just pounds through both bands. And you still got it.
Well, that's great to hear. Yeah, and we like touring with them. We're under the same management company as well, and yeah, they're an excellent band, and that was a great pairing. We did about the first 8 shows together on that whole thing.
Yeah. So, Crash of the Crown. How did that originate? It sounds like a real democracy. The band is really just all in on just producing this and getting it going.
We have at our disposal some some tremendous ammunition in the musicians that are in Styx, and we added this a guy named Willie Bankovich who produced The Mission and produced Crash of the Crown. We added him into the mix back in officially I guess around 2014, 2015. When we started working on The Mission. And yes, there is when we look at each song, we try to look at who can shine the brightest on this song, or who gets a moment here to kind of step out and let their their talent kind of take center stage. And that is how the albums have been crafted, quite honestly. That and harkening back to as much of the sound of that classic rock era from the, arbitrarily from the 70s, as possible. And it's a balancing act of those things, plus writing songs that people can somehow see themselves in the narrative. You put all of that together, and that really comprises what a Styx album is today, at least for these last two albums.
Yeah, I hear some heavy keyboard on this track called Save Us From Ourselves. And
yeah.
We
played that one live last night. Yeah. That's got that was, what was great about that one was I was able to use my vintage keyboards on that I have in Toronto. I have a studio in Toronto, like a fully decked out studio. It's like a 1926 Steinway there, and I have a Fender Rhodes from a company that was built by a company called Vintage Vibes. It's in New Jersey, and I was able to layer the two of those, in that sound that you hear at the top of the record. And then, of course, it transitions into the B3, and then we've got some cellos kind of pumping throughout. Some string cellos, plug-in things, and also my Mellotron is in there. So, yeah, it's quite a little concoction on that song. We played, as I said, that live last night, Robert, and it went over really well.
Sweet, yeah, that's good. Do you mix up the set list? Is it very just very well rehearsed? Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, we do mix it up. Like there are songs that you'll hear at every Styx concert. You're never going to go to see Styx and not hear Renegade and Come Sail Away and Grand Illusion, Blue Collar Man, Too Much Time, Fooling Yourself. Those are in every show. They have to be. We know that a large fraction of the audience have paid to hear those songs, and we love playing them. Still, believe it or not.
Oh yeah.
They're well crafted songs in every way. But yeah, there are the rest of the set really are alternates. Where we'll play. For example, we played Save Us From Ourselves last night. The night before, we left that one off and we played Reveries from the new album. Last night we played Man in the Wilderness from Grand Illusion, from the Grand Illusion album. The night before we did Sweet Madam Blue from Equinox. So yeah, we varied, night to night, probably 3 or 4 songs per night.
Yeah, you got to have those staples in there. Everybody's coming to hear that. But it's so great to scramble it up. I'm sure that keeps you on your toes and keeps you fresh.
It does. It does. It's necessary. It's also something that it's good for the audience because we get so many people that follow us around.
Yeah, that's true.
If a show is within, up to 300-400 miles, in fact, even more, because sometimes they fly between shows, it's good that they get something slightly different in the next night. And we're aware of that because you'll see the same faces like, hey, didn't you have second row last night? So it's good to vary it like that so they know that we never do the shows just by rote.
Yeah, Reveries is a great track. Such an awesome guitar. I always wonder what are the nuts and bolts of like when you're putting this album together. What goes into that when you're all in the studio? Did you all record in the same place? Did you send files with each other? How did that come about?
Well, on the last 2 albums, The Mission, we were all together at the studio in Nashville. On this album, Tommy Shaw, myself, and Willie Vankovich, we had mapped out all the songs prior to the pandemic. We'd mapped everything out. We basically had them ready for the rhythm section to come in and do their parts, and for JY to come and blow some cool solos, and Chuck down the bass. But the pandemic hit, and after about the 3-month mark for the pandemic, we thought, we thought this would be over with, 2 months ago, and it looks like it's going to stretch on indefinitely. So we better take another look at this album and see where it sits. And when we did, we realized, these songs feel really timely, and let's figure out a way to finish them in our studios, in whatever cities we live in. So as the Zoom calls became more and more second nature, and as we discovered an app, believe it or not, called audio movers, you can link studios together to where you can play in real time and hear each other. In my studio in Toronto, I'm listening to the guys in Nashville who are listening to Todd Zuckerman in Austin, and we were able to pull it all together using the technology that at our disposal, but also having the comfort of our own kind of working environments. And so it actually benefited the record instead of being a remote feeling. It actually kind of pulled us together in a really unique fashion.
Wow, did you ever think the technology would be like this? Because I've been in the video business for 30-some years now. It has changed immensely. I'm sure from the days when you were on tape to now, it's like you probably could never even have envisioned this.
Quite honestly, no. I remember as far back as the 70s. I do remember that there was one remote recording. I believe it was of a Rick Wakeman church organ solo. And actually, I like whenever a band wanted to use a pipe organ, I think that was the only time they did actual remote recording like that. I'm not sure if he was able to send it digitally. Obviously, it was probably too early for that. But at least the impracticality of doing any remote recording in the past, those are long in the rear view mirror.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, no, I never really envisioned that the digital age would have this far-reaching an implication, to the point where we could actually finish an entire album with the feeling like we were together, and yet we were not. It's quite remarkable, quite honestly.
Yeah. Wow. What a powerful opener, the track "The Fight of Our Lives." That is just really unbelievable. How did that come about?
So yeah, that one became the opening track because it just seemed like the right line to sing right off the bat. We will not give in,
Yeah.
And we actually open our shows with that right now. That short little song, it's only about a minute 45 seconds long or something. It transitions straight into Blue Collar Man, so it's a really great opener. The song itself, I think, it's almost like I think initially, because I wasn't part of the writing on that one, but initially I think it was kind of like an attempt at something that's almost like a sports anthem. But now once we recorded it, and given the circumstances the world has endured over the last 60 months, it's more of a life anthem. It's taken on a bit of a larger dimension because of that.
Yeah. I mean, you're all sounding original. It's unbelievably fantastic, but I feel like there's bits of like ELP in there. You got some Traffic feel. It brings me back to when I used to listen to a lot of Yes records. I love it. Yeah.
Styx have never been a band that have shied away from showing their influences. I think, all bands do to some degree if you really peel back the onion, so to speak. But, there are moments where we really do. We get a kind of a kick out of plundering as much as we can from that classic rock era when Styx first emerged. Nearly 50 years ago now, just a few months away from 50 years, and all of that idiom is to us is like part of the. It's part of the it's part of the palette that we want to kind of use, and we do. And it kind of, as I said, it always puts a grin on our face. The ending of the title track, "Crash to the Ground," I clearly, I just felt this has to have the kind of bravado that Freddie Mercury would use when he wrapped up the song. So, I don't sound anything like him, really, but the spirit of that way of wrapping up a song is definitely quite evident there, and we enjoy it, and audiences seem to as well.
Yeah, you could feel that theatricality. Another track that really, I just love it. "Long Live the King." That's a great riff in there too. What inspired that?
That one, I'm not part of the writing on that one. That was Will's song. Will produced the album, and now in the band. He had that song, and we just thought that this is a great. It ties in so well with the kind of the idea behind the album, which is renewal. You know, so many of the songs hint at the spirit of renewal, and "Long Live the King" is certainly a very dramatic way of presenting that. You know, so and it just works. It's a great song.
Beautiful, beautiful work. I really, really appreciate you speaking with me. So what is the future? You wrap it up with Collective Soul, then you team up again and tour this fall. How are the future plans looking?
No, we are currently on tour. Actually, like I said, we've played now. I guess coming up on that'll be 30 shows so far since you saw us, and no, the schedule is very heavy at the moment, and we're just going to continue playing right through this for the rest, really up until right through next summer. We don't really have a break on the schedule at the moment because people want all the shows that we missed over over the pandemic year. So we're kind of cramming them in there. But at the same time, Robert, we're aware of the fact that this could stop any day because of the situation where if the COVID situation gets to a point where they have to make changes, this could all stop. So hopefully that won't happen.
Yeah, hopefully you can keep going, and this is a great, powerful tour, a lot of dates. It must be a lot of work being on the road still, but I'm sure it's a labor of love too.
It is a labor of love. It is, and as far as it's hard to use the word work in attached to this because there's so much fun that it's never felt like it's exhausting, but it's exhausting in the best possible way. That's the best way I can put it. It's the kind of exhaustion everyone should experience in their life.
Awesome. I really appreciate your time. This has been fantastic. And Styx on tour, just amazing. Tommy Shaw, James Young, Todd Zuckerman, Chuck Pinozzo. It's just a great lineup. And let's not forget Will Ivankovic. That's just a great band.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right, Mr. Nebel. Nice talking to you, and we'll see you somewhere up the road.
Stay safe on the road and keep on rocking. Talk with you soon.
Man.
Take care.
Cheers.
Sure, bye-bye. Like I said, I had a great time. It's great to speak with somebody from an act that's, to me, is quite legendary. I'm sure to a lot of other people, too. But it's great to see these guys back out on the road. And this, I just really enjoyed this album. It's just got so much energy. I was telling him that. I was trying not to fan out. But you tend to do that when you get somebody who's part of an outfit that has a legacy like that. The talent is just unreal. If you get a chance, go out and see Styx out on the road. They're going to be performing well into 2022, barring any changes or anything like that. I think they'll continue doing these live shows for a while. And they'll continue recording. They seem to really have a lot of gusto. So get there, get to your nearest venue and see Styx. Also, I interviewed Dean Rowland from Collective Soul, and they had all played together this past summer, at summer 2021. And just a lot of fun speaking with these people who I've listened to quite a bit on the radio, the old traditional terrestrial radio. So it's been just great. Continue listening. Take care.